What's going on, guys? It's Snooze603. We're back. Welcome to the Dawnbreaker Gaming Podcast, episode 30. I am your host, Snooze603. I'm so important, I introduce myself twice every single week. Joining me, as usual, is Epona and Scanner Barkley. What's going on, guys?
It's
Snooze603. Week 2, back. No guests. We have not really been hammering people to join us for the podcast. Kind of, keep changing up the pace of things a little bit. But next week, I hope to have a guest in. A couple of pre-podcast announcements. We have the servers. We have Battlefield 3. We have Ark. We have... No, it's not. Sorry. Reign of Kings. We have Ark?
Ark and Reign of Kings, yep.
Okay, sorry. Okay, so we have Battlefield 3, Ark, Reign of Kings, Minecraft, and modded Minecraft, which I think... Is he also using Feed the Beast mod pack? So if you guys are looking for a server, we have them. You're more than welcome to use them at any point. Also, if you guys are looking to put together a thing like on your own, like if you're like, you know what, I'd love to be able to do a thing for Battlefield 3 some night, let us know. We can make the server work for you. Do whatever. It's there to be used. It is for the community.
For the people. By the people.
For the people. By the people. Yes, wonderful. And then the Patreon page. If you guys aren't throwing your wallet at it right now, I suggest you do so, like to the point where you're breaking your monitor. You can take some money back to replace the monitor, but still throw your money at us, because it's greatly appreciated. It's still doing well. So any and all support you guys can give us is greatly appreciated. It helps out quite a bit. Like I said, keeps the servers going. Some servers we have, others are just done by someone like Chalk1 of Battlefield Podcast, where we've kind of just lumped in our communities together. So it's good. We're all supporting one another and benefiting from one another, which is awesome. I think that's it for pre-podcast announcements. Awesome. All right. So,
oh, well, actually, no. I mean, I keep saying this. I'm saying in the next week or two, definitely in the next week or two, because we will have our funds refreshed next week, I believe. Giving away The Witcher 3. So keep an eye out on Twitter and on the stream.
See, that's a game that, like, Squantoon gave me shit about. He's like, in a year from now, we'll hear from Snoov about how good The Witcher 3 is when he finally gets around to playing it. Which is true. I can't help it. I buy everything on sale.
It is so good.
I know, but I have recently rediscovered Shadow of Mordor. And the reason I say rediscovered is I actually started trying to play it finally back in April. But the problem I had was my controller kept disconnecting for whatever reason. Like every 10 minutes it would disconnect, it would pause the game, even in the middle of a battle, and I would die. And it was infuriating, so I put it down until I could finish it. Till I could fix it. Since I fixed it, I got into it last night. I put in 5 hours last night. Controller's working fine. I'm fucking hooked. I'm gonna play that game until I beat it 100%. That is the goal. At any rate, okay. So Witcher 3. Next time we get paid, giveaway. That's always fun. We are back to some community topics. We haven't done this in a couple weeks, so we asked people on Twitter today, if you missed it, to throw out some topics. If we get through them all tonight in relatively short order, then we will go to the chat and ask you guys for more topic suggestions. But to jump into it, first topic is from Billy the Kid. What are your thoughts on the Batman Arkham Knight PC being removed? Being removed. The general thought on what went down with that game. Scan, we're going to hand that off to you because I believe you're the only one of us that did buy it on PC. And I do know you weren't overly thrilled by it from what you were writing on Twitter.
Yeah, I got my motherfucking refund.
Did you really?
Really?
Yeah.
How much time did you put into it before you returned it?
About an hour and 55 minutes.
Nice. Maximizing the
Yeah, maximizing that 2-hour window to basically shovel excrement into my own face. That was Arkham Knight.
So what stood out the most about why it was other shit?
Okay, right. I watched Jim Sterling's video. I love Jim Sterling. He used to be with The Escapist. Now he does his own thing.
Yep.
I watched his video on it today, and he summed the game up perfectly. And it's not often that I quote another content creator, because I'm a bit of a wordsmith myself, but I find it impossible to top what Jim Sterling said about the game when he described the PC port as a bucket of dead dicks floating in a swimming pool of sick.
That's awesome.
Wow.
And it was superb.
Poetic.
Like, nothing worked. Okay, I'm not going to, like, hammer the game for its flaws. Its flaws were many and plentiful. What I want to focus on is the scumbaggery of Warner Brothers, who are very hit and miss with their game. Like, they did Shadow of Mordor, which was a great game. It released excellently in perfect condition. Looks beautiful, runs incredibly well. Like, even with one card, I can get extremely playable 4K out of that game, and that's saying something for a game that looks that fucking good. But with other stuff, like with Arkham Origins, they basically said, fuck you if it's broken, we're not going to fix it, we're doing DLC. With Mortal Kombat X, that was broken. They basically said, fuck you to PC people. And now with this, it was broken. And I guarantee you that Warner Brothers were sat there in full knowledge that it was broken, because it's impossible for them not to know that they were releasing a completely fucked PC port, and all the evidence is there that they knew, because there was no review codes for PC. There was very late warnings put up for people who ran AMD. There was a very late change to minimum specs as to what you would need to run the game and all that shit. So they knew exactly what was happening. And they had a previously prepared fuck you in the wings for anybody who bought the game.
Okay, I do remember reading about this.
Had been fucked over, and it was running poorly. So they had this fuck you, and they had some guys there that were polishing it up, and they were getting it all fucking shiny and new looking, and even though it was the same fuck you they've used twice in a row. And then what happened is the refunds started to roll in, and people requested more and more and more. There was forums all over the internet tracking how long people were playing before they would request their refund, and it became a sport on the fucking internet and on Reddit to completely mock and deride this PC port. Their Metacritic got hammered, all their reviews got hammered, their income from the game got hammered, because if I pay Valve $49.99 for a game, there's fees involved, and if Valve have to give me back $49.99 for that game, there's fees involved. And if you think Valve are paying those fees, you're fucking dreaming. And if you think Valve aren't keeping their 30% anyway, you're dreaming. So Warner Brothers were taking this massive fucking hit from all these refunds. And then all of a sudden, there's this change of fucking tune, and they're so contrite. And we're really sorry, and you can refund the game if you want to. And Rocksteady are working so hard. We've taken those Iron Galaxy guys. We're just gonna ignore them. And Rocksteady are gonna work on fixing the thing, and everything will be fine. And for the first time that Warner Brothers ever gave a flying fuck about their customers is because they were losing shit piles of fucking money from all the refunds. And that's it. Like, everybody jumped out and they were like, oh, Warner Brothers, they took the game down, you know, for sale. You can't buy it anymore. That's such a nice move. No, it's not. That's like me kicking you in the balls and then saying, oh, I'm sorry I kicked you in the balls, and you going, it was really nice of you to apologize, but not saying you probably shouldn't have kicked me in the balls in the first place. You know, it was bullshit, but it was so lovely to see, like, this not quite Ubisoft level of fuck you to customers, but like a company that has done a lot of fuck yous. It was really nice to see them get skewered as the first people to fall upon the sword of the Steam refund fucking revolution, basically, is exactly what happened. They were getting hammered with the refunds. They were losing money like you wouldn't fucking believe. All these fees, all these 30% that Steam were still going to charge them for, because Steam were doing their job.
Yep.
They're not going to just give you back money for nothing. It was awesome. So, fuck Warner Brothers. And fuck their shitty-ass port. Fuck any company who does shitty-ass ports. It's just lazy. Look at Rockstar. Just, if you're a dev, just look at Rockstar, who took a very long time to get GTA 5 on PC out. And nobody cared. Nobody went, I'm not buying the game if it doesn't come out on the same day as fucking, you know, consoles. They just released it when it worked, and everybody bought it anyway. That's all you have to do, is release a product that works, and people will buy it.
Yeah, how many people bought the PC copy of GTA 5? Didn't they already cross like 1 million? Yeah.
Yeah, it was like 1 million on PC in 24 hours.
For a game that has already been out for over a year on console. That's fucking
well
impressive.
Over a year. It was on previous gen consoles. That's when I first got it. And I still picked it up on PC.
See, one of the things that, and I'm not alone when I have said this, but one of the things I have always said was, if you want to make an impact, do anything that gets the attention of developers to show your displeasure, you have to speak with your wallet. And that's exactly what PC players did with Arkham Knight, and look what it did. They actually pulled the fucking game down. I don't know if this is necessarily a first time thing, or if it's a... I guess it does kind of set a precedent, because now people have the ability to do refunds on these brand new games in the US. I know in other countries you can do it no problem, but in the US it's there's no consumer protection against such a thing, especially with digital content. So to be able to have that option now and fucking like literally hit them in the wallet, having that power to the gamers is actually very, very good. And again, to reiterate a point I already made, it's already positively impacting we, the gamers, because the company looked at it and they said, well, fuck them, they already bought it. Well, actually, yeah, but they half of them have returned it. Like, oh. Well, what do our numbers look like? And that's all. That is all that fucking matters at the end of the day with all these companies. The dollar sign at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Especially corporately or publicly held companies. That's far more important.
What should have been like one of the biggest releases of the year because it was one of the Arkham Rocksteady games is now a joke. And it doesn't matter that it's doing really well, like on PS4.
Yeah, I gotta say, it's a bit of a tragedy because I ended up pulling a Neo, dodging that shit like a bullet, and I picked it up for PS4, and I haven't been able to put it down. I picked it up Wednesday. I played it every day since, and I've nearly beaten it by now. It's really good. I mean, they're totally different games, but I would almost put it above The Witcher 3 in my enjoyment per hour rate. I don't know.
Not necessarily that statement, but the previous one where you're just saying in general how good this game is. That should not be surprising. That is what everyone should be saying about this game on all platforms that it is available on. The first 2 games they made were fucking phenomenal. And that's coming from a guy who's only played like 6 games. So this is, I'm talking about 2 games and 6 I've played over the past 5 years. When Arkham Asylum and then Arkham City came out, those are the only 2 games, with the exception of Assassin's Creed. Sorry, so 2 of 3 games that were able to pull me away from the YouTube content-producing machine that I had become, especially regarding around Battlefield 3. Those games were so utterly fucking amazing, and I did Let's Plays of them. I absolutely loved them. I did the Harley Quinn DLC Let's Play. I know I did one of the Batmans. I feel like I did both, but now my memory's failing me. Those games were awesome, and it's a damn shame that Warner Brothers kind of fucked over the PC crowd with this one when they already had established themselves with the first 2 games as incredibly amazing to play games. And the storylines were really, really good too. Just all around, top to bottom, very fun games. That's one of the things people said about Shadows of Mordor is the combat system is very reminiscent of, the whole Batman series. The combat system is pretty much the same. Very fluid. It's great. So to see them go from back-to-back fantastic, game of the year potential games to dropping this fucking shiny, smelly turd on the doorsteps of all PC gamers, it's going to be kind of tough for them to come back from, I think. It'd be interesting. I mean, if they come back and they fix it, then let bygones be bygones. At least they made up for it, right?
I'm interested for the plausible effect on the next big Warner Brothers game, which is going to be Mad Max.
Oh, which I heard is going to be using the same combat system.
Because I'm already curious, is it going to be locked at 30 FPS? Who's handling the PC port? Are Avalanche doing it themselves? And
when is it announced?
All this kind of stuff. It casts a shadow for a while over subsequent releases.
Oh, sure. Did they have a rough estimate for delivery time on the Mad Max game?
I can't remember. It's so far away, I'm not paying any attention. You know that way? It's like on my radar, but not close enough for me to know any detail.
So that could be good then. It's early enough, and it's potentially early enough that hopefully they learn from this and kind of, I don't know, maybe go back to the drawing board as far as how they're approaching the development of this game. Say, guys, we cannot fuck up twice in a row. But, again, who knows? I feel like we're kind of in a transition with where gaming can go, especially from the PC side of things, because of the whole refund thing. I really think it's going to have a positive impact for gamers as a whole. And this is kind of the first big one where, okay, we've had the opportunity to refund, and guess what? Everybody got their refund because your game sucked. So let's see what the next one does. What's the next one that's coming up on the earliest radar? Would that Would it be Battlefront?
I think so. That's
But you
November
can't get Battlefront through Steam. It has to go through Origin.
Origin has had a refund policy since long before Steam.
Okay, did not know that.
Yeah, they've got a much better, more robust refund policy than Steam does now.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Like, everybody shits on EA, but it's because they're too stupid to get a refund. not being a dick to anybody who shits on EA, but
I wonder
you
if I
can
can
buy
get a
the game, you
refund
can
for
play it, you can
Hardline.
decide if it's for you, and if not, you can refund it. Like, it's...
I probably waited too long. Damn it! I didn't know that because I would have refunded Hardline. Anyway, yeah, it's.
yeah, you waited way too long.
Yeah, I did. Oh well. I live and learn, right? It'd be interesting to see how this plays out for Warner Brothers moving forward. Because you're right, it will cast a shadow on it. Depending on what they're looking at for development time for Mad Max, it could potentially impact them. And but you know, it depends on. I think we should see a resolution to Arkham Knight well before they even have a concrete release date for Mad Max out. Unless, again, I'm mistaken, they already have a Mad Max release date that I'm unaware of. I'll be curious. We've already won in the sense of we got a developer to fucking realize a mistake and pull back. We'll see just how much of a win that is if and when they actually fix it and re-release it and see what the quality of it is at that point.
The
It
thing
looks
that
like it
I'm...
says September for Mad Max.
Really?
The thing that
September
I'm
1st.
curious about is, personally, I'm not going to rebuy Arkham Knight at full price, even if they get it all like patched up and ported properly and stuff. I'm still not going to buy it at full price because that would be the wrong message to send. I'm just going to wait for a Steam sale and pick it up and play it then.
That's not a bad idea.
Might be a dick move, but I don't make it like I don't.
It's less of a dick move than what they did to us.
I am an overspender when it comes to my computerized entertainments. I have masses of money that I just keep firing onto the fucking internet at any dev that wants them. And when it comes to getting a day one sale, I'm your guy. I'm the dude who'll basically put my dick in a blender to see what happens and then make a video about it on YouTube to let everybody else know. Do not put your dick in this particular blender. That's me. It's what I do. But they had their shot at my day one money and they fucked it up. So now they don't get the equivalent amount ever again. Not for that
That's
fucking
fair.
lumpy shit game. That's just the way it is.
Yep.
Ew.
Makes me sad. It's a good game.
I honestly, I didn't want to talk about the game itself because I had only played for 2 hours, so there was a limited experience as to how the game was. But early on, I actually felt myself struggle with it a little bit because it's odd. I'm Batman and I'm going around like dropping guys with a 60mm cannon. That was just the weirdest thing ever. It's like, oh, this is a 60mm cannon. It's designed to take out the enemy like automated tanks. And I'm like, okay, I wonder if I can shoot like just a normal dude with him. And yeah, you can. And he just goes flying across the fucking road with this giant round penetrating his face. And I'm like, how is this me not killing people? Like, somebody explain it to me. And then there was this weird... It was strange. Everywhere I went, everybody was so happy to see Batman. It's like, oh, thank God Batman's here. And I'm like, really? Everybody's super happy to see Batman? Nobody's ever been happy to see Batman. He's always put you in a really kind of complex place between the effectiveness of his vigilantism versus the need for his vigilantism and the right for him to engage in it. That has always been the point of Batman. And now it's like, oh, thank fucking Christ, this lunatic in a cape is here. It just felt really weird. I don't know. I was struggling.
That as
but
well.
It was only an hour and 55 minutes though, you know.
But I figured I had missed something because I didn't play the first 2 games. Well, I did play about an hour of Arkham City and I was like bored and then stopped. But I noticed it's really dark. It's actually kind of had a lot of bummer moments. But I am actually it's been making me more interested in the comics. Like I kind of want to know stuff about all these characters that I'm meeting and everything. It's really interesting. I like it. It's got really nice gameplay. Although I have had to restart a handful of times because I got stuck under the map or something. But it's not usually something you see in console versions. But
Understandable.
whatever.
Yeah, we were actually able to hit both questions from Billy in discussion of that, because the other part of his question was talking about, with the recent Steam refund policy in effect, do you think this incident will be a wake-up call to other AAA developers and publishers who may think twice about releasing a half-finished game for the sake of pre-order profits?
Yes, as Cam
Yeah,
said.
they will.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
It's been huge because it's crushed the game. Like, as I said, even though it's released well on, like, the PS4 and stuff. Do you know what's really weird? I ain't even sure if the fucking thing is out on Xbox One.
That's a good question. I don't know either.
I honestly don't know. That thing doesn't even fucking exist in advertising right now. It's like, it's the same level of embarrassment as having your game come out on Wii U if your game isn't Nintendo only. It's the fucking Ouya. The Xbox Ouya.
Their advertising campaign still targeting TV adverts, not gaming adverts. Xbox One TV, awesome! It'll replace your TV and cable.
Everybody's always going to say it about Arkham Knight now. It's like, oh, it's a great game. Yeah, PC port was shit. It's going to be like that forever. They fucked it up. And you can't afford to do that anymore. It used to be a cred hit, but now it's an actual hit to the earnings potential of a game as well. I'm really hoping... Okay, there's two reasons. This is slightly tangential, but there's two reasons I want to see a more relaxed attitude from both devs and consumers when it comes to game release dates. One, I want devs to be able to take as long as they need to make the game actually work. Because I want people to be able to buy a good game for their fucking money. And I want crunch in the game industry to just die. I want that to go away. I want like 9, 12-month periods where people are working 18-hour days, 7 days a week to fucking go. Because it shouldn't be allowed. Like it just shouldn't be a necessity. And it most certainly should not be a culture that games companies are allowed to foster. Like, if you want your job, you have to work these ridiculous hours that just burn you out. Make you hate your job, hate your life. You make a load of fucking mistakes, and it's just a terrible process. It's the worst aspect of the gaming industry itself is actually the crunch that fucking the devs experience when they're trying to get these products finished for a particular release date. And there's not enough hours in the day. It's just like, oh well, just work more. It's like, really? I never allowed that to happen in any job I was in. I had hours that I worked. If all the work wasn't done by the end of my working day, I went fucking home. Because you pay me from this time to this time, and then I leave. That's just me as a person. Like, you cannot make me stay and work longer unless you pay me.
I'm with you there.
I want that aspect to die. I hate that part of the games industry.
Never mind game industry. It's like that way everywhere in life. It's a nightmare. It's a never-ending issue, unfortunately. Especially for... never mind. That's a tangent I don't want to get into. But... I think we'll hop on to the next topic from Grathax. This one's interesting. I'm not sure. Okay, anyway. Board games. Favorite and most hated.
I gotta say, I went on a binge of watching Tabletop, the Geek and Sundry YouTube series, and
with Felicia Day, right? And
it's Will Wheaton's, yeah, but Felicia Day came on sometimes as like
Don't you mean
friend.
Will Wheaton?
Will Wheaton.
God. With one L.
Cool Whip.
And I saw a lot of cool shit, and one game that they played that I thought looked awesome was Dead of Winter. And I almost picked it up because my family and I, every Sunday we have brunch together, and in the summer, we just, like, hang out on my brother's deck, but in the winter, we're inside playing card games and board games, so I almost picked it up. We played Zelda Monopoly this winter, and I won because I monopolized the railroads, but anyway. But a game that I've actually played that's my favorite, I think, is Parcheesi. Like, the old school, like, it was my grandma's board, like, legit old school Parcheesi. I am a fan of that. I don't know why I like it so much.
I could only ever get myself to play Monopoly. There was no other board games that really could play. I mean,
That
when I was
was
a
so
little kid, I
boring,
played
though.
like Risk and shit, but no, I fucking love Monopoly. The game's
Really?
shit.
Monopoly
yeah.
Junior? Because I had Monopoly Junior when I was little. And then...
Nope, regular
Zelda.
Monopoly. Actually, I got in a wicked... My mom almost killed me when I was younger. The town I live in had its bicentennial, like the year after we moved here. 200-year anniversary. We had this big fucking to-do about it. Parade was dope. It lasted like an hour, which is pretty big for a fucking small town. Got like a bucket load full of candy. That's where my epidemic with fatness started. And then one of the things they did was they had all these like random collector's edition things that were based on the town. So they had like my town version of Monopoly for the bicentennial edition. It was
That's
this like
cool.
rare thing. I didn't know it was a rare thing. And my friends and I were like, dude, we should play Monopoly one day. I was like, fuck yeah. So I went and found it, and I tore that shit open. My mom came in, and she was like, what the fuck? She lost it. Which, as I'm older now, I understand why, because it's a fucking collector's edition. But I just wanted to play some Monopoly. I was a young kid. I didn't know any better. I was like, bitch, I'm playing Monopoly. What's the problem? Thought I did something wrong. What
Yikes.
I did. I ruined a collector's edition item.
Whatever. It's meant to be played with. It's not like
Yeah.
my mom selling my Nintendo NES collection for $1.
Oh.
The console and all the games, $1 in a garage sale. Sorry,
Oh, that's harsh.
I got distracted.
That is harsh.
It hurts my heart physically every time I think of it.
Terrible. No, but I fucking love Monopoly. I could play it. Actually, there's only, I think, 3 apps I've ever paid for on my phone, because I'm not really big on paying for apps on my phone. I think it's a nightmare. But I did buy Monopoly, because I love Monopoly that much.
I didn't even know that was a thing on the phone.
Oh, yeah, it's the shit. I love it. And I also do monopolize the railroads. That is a very undervalued...
Dude, that's how you win. Well, I had to in Zelda Monopoly because Epona is one of the railroads, and I would like throw a fit. I'd be like, I want the horsey, and my mom would be like, because my brother got it, and I wanted to like trade him some properties for it or something,
And he was like, nah.
and he was like, no, and my mom was like, Michael, your sister really wants the horsey. I was like, yeah, can't we trade? I'll give you. And then I like gave him this crazy unfair trade, like on my end. Like I gave him a shit ton of stuff. And
Yeah.
finally he gave it to me. And then eventually I had all of them. And every time someone would land on them and I'd be like, all your money are belong to me. And then I won the game. And then my brother was like, thanks, Mom.
Oh, Clue! I used to play that shit with my parents, too.
Oh,
Sorry about the chat.
boring.
And chess. I used to be really good at chess.
I do like
and then
chess.
I played recently with Jay, Queerty Jay. I got fucking wrecked. It's been a couple of years since I played.
Fun fact.
Skinner, I'm not
chess.
giving you a chance. I'm
Chess
sorry.
club in 4th grade. That was me. Elementary.
I was in chess club in college.
Okay,
Really?
nerd.
I was good too.
Scanner's a better nerd than you are. Elementary school? I mean, come on. Scanner did
And-
college. That's next level nerd.
Yeah, but I love board games. I love chess. I'm kind of getting into like card games and shit now. Not like poker and stuff, but a game called Android Netrunner, which is like a science fiction version of the Magic, the Magic card game. But the rules are actually quite complex, and I've been spending a little while getting comfortable with them before we start playing properly. I used to play a lot of like Warhammer 40k stuff, all the Games Workshop stuff, which is like big armies against each, tabletop like war games.
Yeah.
I used to love playing that. I played the Battle for Stalingrad, which is like a massive reproduction basically of World War II battle for Stalingrad. And an average game is supposed to take about 3 months, and I stomped fucking Stalingrad out in 2 weeks, which was pretty cool. My favorite is Risk. I fucking adore Risk because it takes so long. Risk isn't a board game, it's a fucking, like, an actual war. Like, it's a war of attrition against the people you are playing. And the last time I played Risk, I won without ever fighting anybody. I did what all good European warmongers do. I started out in Africa. I built my fucking armies up. Like, while everybody else was fighting, I was sat in Africa just consolidating my position, consolidating my wealth, consolidating my power, and everybody's fighting. And about 4.5 hours into the game, they all just finally notice what I've been fucking doing.
Like
And I just
piles
sit there
of-
and I just look at him and I go, you can fight me, or you can all give up. You can all just quit right now and say, I'm your fucking daddy. And every one of them is like, I can't do it. We're tired. We've been playing for like 4.5 hours already, and we haven't even started trying to fucking tackle the fucking scanner problem. And everybody just went, right, you win. I was like, there we go.
Dude, I've played Risk once, and it was with Fake Thriller. It was his idea. So it was me, Fake Thriller, and our friend Potzilla. For anyone that remembers the very fucking first days of Shoosty Bang, we had Potzilla do a guest commentary with me one time talking about hardcore on Modern Warfare 2. But I digress. He was like, dude, you know what we should do tonight? Because we had planned on going to the bar and everything. I'm like, yeah, what are we doing? He's like, we should go buy Risk, and when we come back from the bar, we'll play that, and it'd be awesome when we're hammered. I'm like, yeah, that actually sounds like fun. So we went to the bar, we got shit-faced, and then we came back to my apartment, like, kind of early, because we were really looking forward to playing Risk. And inside, like, the first hour, we all completely sobered up, and beers had gotten piss warm by that point, completely forgotten, and just fucking intense. Like, I'm gonna beat the shit out of these kids. And we went on for like 3 hours before my wife and like before all their significant others were just sitting there like bleary eyed on the couch, like, guys, fuck off, we're tired.
Oh my god.
So we had to call it quits. But like, we're walking away all serious, like, nah, man, I would have fucking had you. Look at this, I had this all set up.
Wow.
It was.
That's
awesome.
adorable.
There's a game called War on Terror, and it's kind of like a version of Risk, but it's very satirical about the War on Terror. And it's very open, and like part of the rules are that there's no rules. If you're not paying attention and somebody cheats or rips you off or has a system in place to fuck you over, it's your fault because you're an idiot. So we used to play this, and me and T would always have like the nights where we were playing it, we'd be the hosts, and we'd always win. And everyone would be like, how come these guys are always winning? And I eventually explained it to him that I had cards, like really good cards, hidden in like the presses and shit around my house. So I'd be like, oh, would anybody like a drink? I will get you a drink because I'm a good host, while I go over here and take lumps of in-game money and currency and armies just out of presses all over the place and like sneak them onto the fucking table and stuff. Dude, when it comes to fucking people over, I'm like, I can't be beat.
This is why no one goes to Skinner's house anymore.
It was great.
Fuck that guy.
Used to fucking love it. But that was good fun. It was like Risk for wankers, so I was great at it.
Polygon made a good point. If they made Gwent, like, I know the collector's edition had, you could have a physical Gwent deck, but if they made that, or if they made like an app on your phone, oh man, I would be all over that like nobody's business. What?
What's
It's
Gwent?
it's the in-game minigame for Witcher 3. It's a card game.
Okay.
But like, speaking from my own experience, I usually don't bother with in-game minigames. Like in the last one, it was like dice poker or something and arm wrestling, and I was like, fuck that. I don't need that in my life. Gwent, they make you play a tutorial, and I won the first time around, and I was like, oh, okay, that was actually kind of interesting. And then I tried playing people, because almost anyone, like especially merchants, you run into them, you can be like, down for some Gwent? And you, what are you giggling at?
Sorry, Squantoon.
I don't want to know.
Go ahead.
And I got my ass handed to me. Just constantly. And then I finally figured out how to play it, and that I actually needed to kind of like buy better cards or find them around in the world. And I'm Gwent master. I actually restarted my playthrough on PS4 so that I could go through specifically collecting all the cards and getting the best deck that I could. Oh my god. It was awesome.
That's dedication.
Yeah.
You better be careful
It's a
about
good
who
game.
you kill, because some of the characters have Gwent cards that you can only get from them.
I know, that's what happened in my PC playthrough, so I have to be tricksy on PlayStation, and I'm doing all the Gwent quests first before anything else. So good.
Terrible. Well, the other question Grathax had was, with board games being brought onto digital platforms, speaking of potentially bringing that to like an app or something, are younger generations missing out on the nostalgia which we have experienced? I don't think so, because nostalgia is based on the experience, not, I mean, to me, nostalgia is based on the experience with others. And and not the fun that was had, not necessarily how it was done. So, as long as it translates well to a digital platform, I think it'd be fine. And if it's willing to get kids more involved in a more social type of gaming, then yeah, fuck it, why not? Well, I say more social. If it's digital, it may not be. It'd probably be like, the way we fucking do everything. Hop in TeamSpeak, play video games all night.
Yeah, I mean, if I didn't have the internet to play things through, then I wouldn't be really playing anything with anyone, and I'd be missing out on this whole branch of entertainment and things that I get joy out of, because nobody that I know in real life likes the same things that I do. So, I mean, just because you're not sitting in front of someone doesn't mean you're not having a good social, delightful experience. I could see missing out on the physical, like, pieces and stuff, because that kind of a nice, fun component to it, but...
Physical's overrated.
Yeah.
says the agoraphobe.
Don't listen to Scanner, anybody.
Physical components to games. Glorified DLC.
I'll make you all be like me.
I need to get chic.
Ooh. Okay, this is actually a really good question. Kind of changing direction with the topics. Still, second question from Graphax. I'm finding myself playing older games to get depth on characters and the story, etc. Has some of the skill in writing been lost with some of the recent releases? Even for someone like me who doesn't play that many games, as much as even Opponent, never mind as much as Scanner, yeah, I think so. And that's a direct result of companies trying to push out releases more towards an annual or biannual basis than they used to on like a 3 to 4 year basis. Their focus has been put on quantity over quality. And when that happens, you're going to lose out on quality. It happens. But that's not to say that there isn't quality out there anymore. There's still plenty of really good games with phenomenal storylines. I'm going to keep throwing it out there because I'm still got a half chubby over it. BioShock Infinite. It was a fucking phenomenal storyline. It's great. This came out, 2013?
Not better than the first.
I'm actually replaying the first right now. It's so good.
Really?
Like, I've got a whole series worth of video ideas just out of the first 6 hours of the original BioShock.
And it's so different. Like, it's more...
Because it's that good.
It's more of a horror game, really.
No game has ever done world building the way BioShock does within the first, 15 to 20 minutes of gameplay. Ever. From the stuff that you learn about the story that you don't even understand is relevant thematically, and then hits you right in the fucking teeth 10 hours in. It's just masterful in how it was written. I was watching a thing, because I watch things, during the week, and it was about CGI in cinema. Bear with me. It was about CGI in cinema, and how while CGI in cinema has gotten better, films who are heavily used CGI now trend lower in review scores than 5, 6, 7 years ago. Even though the CGI would be that much better. So let's say Jurassic World versus Jurassic Park. There's no contest for most people about which one is actually a better movie. Jurassic World seems to be a serviceable nod to Jurassic Park, but Jurassic Park is seen as the fucking magnum opus. It's the one. And the reason that was offered for this is because back in the day, computing power could only do so much. So a realistic looking T-Rex was put in a scene. There was a real scene with real people doing real shit, and then this scarily fucking realistic looking T-Rex stomping through the rain, all like, rah, and everyone's like, fuck, and you're like, ooh. And it was dank as shit. Now they just do the whole thing. Just the whole fucking thing. Just, what do we need? We need this? Okay. We need the Incredible Hulk? Okay. We need the Incredible Hulk way back, in the 2008 movie or whatever. It was the Incredible Hulk on a real street, walking past real things, being the Incredible Hulk in real life. This was the thing. And we would have an ability to associate what we were seeing with our experiences because we've all stood on a regular street. In the Avengers movie, when the Hulk is standing on that street and everything is on fire and exploding and there's massive fucking aliens flying around the place and he's throwing him into the sun and whatnot, we can't kind of associate with that because we've never stood on a street that's been on fire. We've never stood in a giant explosion watching fucking aliens fly around the place. It's too much for us to give a fuck about. We enjoy the movie, but we don't emotionally invest it in anymore because this endless search for realism via replication is just stilting our ability to get into things. And it's the same with games. Games have become obsessed with authenticity, with realism, with, oh my god, you won't even know it's a game. You look at these screenshots, you'll swear to Christ it's real life. And it's this same thing of all this focus is coming here and the writing is starting to suffer. Like, Bioshock Infinite was a great game. It looked beautiful. The world was fantastic. And the story in its own right was amazing. But it was a lump of trash compared to Bioshock 1, story-wise. There's just no contest between which was the better written, more emotionally engaging, and far more horrifying story to actually play. So as games get more and more caught up in this stuff, these ground textures looking super realistic. Look at the skyboxes, it's basically real. Wait till you see what we've done with shaders and all this stuff. It's like, okay, that's all wonderful, but what I see is half the game. You know, that, like, it's not the be all and end all. You need to stop focusing on trying to have everything looking so amazing and start focusing on me feeling invested. And it's part of the reason why The Witcher 3 is fucking stunning as a game, is because I have never been led along by a game like that in a very long time, where I reach a point in a game which, without asking me to do it and with giving no prompting, has put me in a very, very difficult place where I genuinely thought about the characters as if they were real people. It was amazing.
Yeah, I did the same thing.
It was amazing. You reach this part where you're having a snowball fight
So many quick saves.
with a character,
Don't want to do the wrong thing.
and you're trying to cheer the character up. And I swear to God, I stopped playing and I thought to myself, am I going to let the character beat me in a snowball fight? Because if I was a kid and I was fucking upset about stuff and I was having a snowball fight with my dad, he'd let me win to make me feel better. And I considered the emotional state of an NPC as if they were a real fucking person. And didn't feel stupid for doing so. That's how you write a fucking computer game. Who cares about any fucking downgrade? Emotional upgrade, please.
I agree with that. That's why I keep coming back to Bioshock Infinite. Like, I know that I have minimal experience compared to the majority of people. Not only here within the podcast, but even those viewing. But Bioshock Infinite did that to me. It hit me right in the feels. It wasn't even so much in the feels. It just, I got emotionally tied into the storyline. Where I really followed the character development. And I was interested to see where it was going to go. It wasn't so much me playing the game as so much as me being a part of the story, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Addison asked something about my point about movies and CGI and stuff about practical effects versus CGI. No, it wouldn't work the same way, Addison, because the whole point of practical effects is that they're practical. It's like practical puppet Yoda versus CGI Yoda. When you're looking at Yoda and like fucking Mark Hamill on screen at the same time, even though Yoda is a puppet, he's obviously real. All the lighting is hitting him exactly the same way that it's hitting Luke Skywalker. It's not an affectation, it's not an estimation or an approximation. It's the actuality of the scene. So we will happily sit there and buy into puppet Yoda much, much quicker than we'll buy into CGI Yoda. Because the limitations of the practical effects were that they couldn't have Yoda doing crazy shit. For the most part, Yoda sat there and he was all like, I'll fucking sit here for a while, I will, and all this kind of shit. Whereas the second they made Yoda into CGI Yoda, he's fucking flipping around the place, doing somersaults and fucking handstands and fighting Sith Lords and all this kind of shit. And it was instantly like that same overkill.
Yep.
Of just because we can do it with computers doesn't mean we should always do it with computers. I pray, like, one of the most, I don't want to say appealing, but one of the most interesting movies that I've ever seen is Blade Runner. Hands down, one of the dankest in both how awesome it looks and wet worlds ever created on a movie. It's just incredible, all-encompassing practical effects stuff. And if you look at the cinema of guys like Tarsem Singh, who does like The Cell and fuck, what was the name of the other movie? I can't remember. But he never uses CGI. He only uses practical stuff and real world locations and shots. And he makes things look otherworldly. So even though a scene might be quote unquote in somebody's dream in one of his movies, it looks incredibly tactile because everything's real. So yeah.
The most recent one that I've encountered is the Mad Max Fury Road. That was mostly practical, almost all practical, and the story was fantastic. It was basically a movie that was a giant chase scene with explosions and murder, and it was one of the most interesting stories that I'd seen in a movie. I can't remember the last time I was that intrigued by what was happening with the characters. And it was literally, they were just driving through the desert. It was crazy.
The amazing thing about that movie is that, like, on the screen there could be dozens of vehicles, like driving and chasing and all this kind of stuff. And when they were recording the movie, there was dozens of vehicles.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a case of
wild
CGI'd in vehicles. They're actually, like, you know, people were driving. I can't wait to see that fucking film.
You haven't? Oh yeah, that's right. It's so
How
good.
am I supposed to see it?
I forgot. It's so good.
Life sucks.
I would go see it again in the theater, and I hate going to the movie theater. I'm gonna buy that shit on DVD too, Blu-ray, not DVD. Please, I'm not a peasant.
DVD. What is this? 2006.
I can name the last 3 movies I went to see in theater. It's not because me and movies are totally different than me and video games. When it comes to movies, I'm fucking cheap. I do not like the price of what it costs to go to a movie theater now. It is absurd.
Yeah, it's crazy.
2, I like when it comes to watching movies, I want it to be convenient. I don't want to be stuck on a fucking schedule to be there and then try and fight for a seat when, you know, like some big movie comes out and it's usually packed theater. And 3, it has become exceedingly difficult to do so ever since we had our kid. The last 3 movies I went to see was The Hobbit, Desolation of Smaug, and The Battle of 5 Armies. Those are the only 3 movies I actually got up to go see. And honestly, like, as much as I did enjoy it, like, the 3rd one was kind of not worth the money I paid. It was good, but not movie theater price good.
It's because it didn't need to exist.
Yeah.
You know, it did, but I wanted it to exist with the same pizzazz and enthusiasm and not too far away from the book-ishness that the Lord of the Rings series had. Way too much fucking CGI. There we go, talking about CGI. Lord of the Rings versus The Hobbit, perfect fucking example. Like, what they did and what they were able to create with costumes in the Lord of the Rings trilogy was amazing, utterly astounding. And then they went and said, fuck it, completely to the next 3 films. And they did almost all CGI, like Bolg and, oh shit, what's the white...
Azog?
Yes, thank you. Those guys would have been fucking awesome if they were actually made. Like, I'm thinking of Prometheus now when I see that big fucking white orc. And those were, unless I'm completely mistaken, those were fucking real humans that were just done up in makeup. That orc would have looked fucking awesome if it was a guy in makeup. But no, they CGI'd the shit out of everything in that, and it just...
You know, in the Lord of the Rings movies, here's an interesting bit of fucking trivia. In the Lord of the Rings movies, you know when they're like busting into that big castle and shit, and the orc runs at the grill with the they drag in these big like exploding balls at the grill and the wall, and the orc runs at him with torches and explodes and stuff. And
Yeah.
The orc who ran at them with the torches taught geography to a good friend of mine in school.
That's awesome.
He was like a martial arts guy and stuff, but he was a geography teacher because nobody pays you to be a martial arts guy. But he ended up doing like stunt work and shit in movies for a while. It's fucking weird. He actually taught geography to a friend of mine. I thought that was class.
Did he get that role? To be like, buddy, you are gonna run to this fucking big flamey candlestick thing and go die in a big explosion. Like,
well, like
gotcha, boss.
He does like what would happen is he would show up on set and there'd be, he's just a stunt guy, like, so he's not exactly like gets a script or whatever. He's like orc who dies, orc who lives, orc who falls downstairs, that kind of shit. And it's not like they were huge or involved stunts that needed choreography. He was basically just like running in a line or falling down some stairs. It was pretty cool.
I gotcha.
I don't notice that kind of stuff until after the fact, or if someone points it out. Like, while you were having your whole little speech about, CGI versus practical, I was like, what is he talking about? And then, you really think about it, and you think back on The Lord of the Rings versus The Hobbit, like Snoop was saying, and...
Yeah.
It takes away a lot of the magic of it, yeah. I guess is the best way to put it.
I mean, I usually, like, when I see CGI in the movies, maybe it's just because I'm a nerd and I'm into coding and stuff like that. I'm like, oh, that's awesome, how the hell did they do that? But that's literally taking me out of the story that they're telling, you know what I mean?
Yeah, of the movie. It's part of the reason why I like Christopher Nolan's stuff so much, is that the CGI, even where it's extravagant, manages to remain subtle.
Yes.
And I like that, because I was reading interviews with him where he was talking about like how he achieves this in his film, and he says that he never asks CGI people to create. He just asks them to replicate. Like, if you give a CGI, artist or a team of artists an image of somewhere and go make this place, they will make it, and it will look incredibly real. But if you ask them to make a real place with no reference, you'll always know it's CGI. Always and forever. It will not feel true to him when he's looking at it. So he doesn't expect the audience to feel like it's true either. Even in Interstellar, which I watched, I'm fucking, oh, what a movie.
Dude, I loved that movie.
When they were doing all the black hole stuff,
yeah,
that wasn't random CGI. That's all like theoretical physics models that are generating those images. Nothing there was done because it looks good. It was done because they think that's how it looks.
Yeah.
Like, that's his level of kind of... He sees CGI as a tool for storytelling, but not a replacement to the established tools of storytelling. And I think gaming will get there eventually. It feels weird to say that with regards to gaming because the worlds are entirely virtual. But for a time, I think the reason we can go back 5, 6, 7 years and find really narratively strong games is because the people who were making games were very aware of the visual limitations that they were working under. And as those start to lift, the focus becomes tech. Like, how do we make this look more real? How do we make this grizzled white man's beard look even more grizzled?
It's a nice reference you threw in there.
And that kind of shit. It gets boring. And
but that's also exciting.
They'll go back to focusing more. Like, yeah, it is exciting, but it's not the be all and end all of gaming as an experience. And hopefully there'll be a little... I don't normally wish for plateaus, but hopefully there will be a little plateau, and they'll realize that the tech and the story can sit really comfortably kind of together, and investing in one merely helps the other. Like, I'm far more likely to accept the reality of something I can emotionally invest in than something that looks pretty as fuck but means nothing to me.
Well, I feel like CD Projekt Red has already proven that you can do both if you care and you put in the effort. Because, I mean, I played The Witcher 3, and they're even just... It's absolutely gorgeous, but even their the models, the animation, when you're in a conversation with someone, you can see what they're feeling and what they're thinking. And then I went and played something like Arkham Knight, and Batman's just staring at it with his dead eyes, and I'm like, ooh, this is really taking me out of it. So, I mean, I feel like, you gotta find that balance, but I don't know if I guess that's what you mean by plateau. Finding where they kind of meet and complement each other.
Yeah, exactly.
You were showing a
people,
peak, by the way. Plateau.
I was sprain my arm doing that.
People in the chat are talking about Prometheus. If you go to Vimeo, somebody has done an edit of Prometheus and the first Alien movie. They've like edited them together into like about a 2.5 hour long thing, and it's really good. It's very quite good. It's a bit kind of jarring in the way that the tech in Prometheus is obviously like far more streamlined and advanced than an Alien, but it works. It really works, and they did it in black and white because black and white cinema is superior to color. Fuck you all. And it's great, and you should give it a watch. Just search for like Prometheus Alien on Vimeo, and it'll be there.
Somebody did that with the Star Wars, with the Blu-rays. They cut them and stitched them back together.
Yeah,
and you can
Topher
download.
Grace.
I don't know.
No, Topher Grace
the
did
person?
it. That dude
that actor
from
from
that
fucking
70s show.
Spider-Man 3.
Really?
Yeah,
That's awesome.
he did it, and it's amazing.
Yeah, I heard it's really good. I'm kind of actually really interested. And I guess there's these custom
Nah, it's
cover
better.
you can download and print it out and kind of make your own cover. It's really cool.
Shit's
I'm
good.
interested in that. Considering my mother
Color
taped
is
over my
stupid.
original, I would like to know what the original Return of the Jedi actually was. Did I tell you about that?
No.
Well, when we were little, I grew up with stories of Star Wars, and then when my brother and I were finally old enough, because I was 3 years older than him, so obviously I had to wait for him to be old enough, we finally got to watch it. My parents got it for me for Christmas in 1995 or something. I was like 8 or 9 years old. And there's a part in Return of the Jedi, I think, I don't even know what it is because my mother taped over it. There's like the slave girl gets thrown into the Rancor pit or something like that. My mom didn't like that. She didn't want little kids to see it. So she literally, the VHS tape, it had this little indent thing so that you couldn't tape over it. You couldn't record over anything. She put a piece of tape on the tape. And my father enabled this. He enabled this. I just want to throw it out there. And she recorded a TV show over that stretch of like 5 minutes that she didn't think was appropriate for children. She recorded it over on the official VHS that she got me for Christmas. And forever now I don't know what it was. I was like, Mom, like years later we were like, you couldn't just fast forward through the part? And she was like, oh yeah, I guess that would have been like, I was like, anyway. So yeah, I'm interested in those recut Blu-rays because I don't want any of that added shit that Lucas changed when he went senile. I want the originals.
So bad.
Like my VHSs minus the Christmas special that she kind of edited in there for me. Thanks, Mom.
Well, alright. Been at this for an hour. There's a couple of last-minute additions for questions I would like to get to, because one of them is something I'm really, really interested in. From Heath Stevens, what do you guys think of No Man's Sky?
I think it looks interesting, but also I need to know more about it. Like, what's your objective? Why are you exploring these planets? Like, the exploring looks awesome.
A signal.
A signal? What?
Yeah, there's a signal, and you're trying to reach it.
But why? Like, what is there to do on these planets? Do you just go and
explore and find new creatures and stuff? That's about all I know right
That's what I
now.
want to know. I
I
would
take
need to
back
know.
what I just said.
I mean, it looks interesting.
I got
but-
confused another game I was thinking of.
Were you thinking of Horizon?
Yeah. The robot dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Here's the thing about No Man's Sky. The reason why I like it is because the premise is interesting, that there's like this giant universe that we all actually exist in as players. Appeals to me, and I like the mini kind of existential crisis that Jess was just displaying. You know, the whole like, what's the point and what do you do? And I like that. I hope that's actually the game. I hope the game is a giant existential crisis for 90% of the people who play it. That would be a very interesting game to me, but would sell like shit, I think, for most people. Like, I'm really interested in the game, but I need it to be more than a kind of a hyped up promise of a thing before I get excited. I'll be very excited when I can install it and play it, but until then, it's all just 2.5 years of talk at this point. To me, you know, I think I've known about it for that long.
Has it?
So
Jesus.
it needs to just arrive and happen and be a game. Like, I will play it. Here's one thing in my cruelty I'm very excited about. I can't wait for, it's got so much hype behind it. I can't wait for every like YouTuber and streamer out there to have their first video.
Oh yeah.
No Man's Sky is here. It's so exciting and I'm playing it. And then it's like, now what? I want to see who turns it into a thing and who doesn't. Who gets that one video where they're talking about how great it is and then you never see it again. And who ends up doing something fucking amazing.
Right. Well, my $10 CPM contract is up on that video, so no more content.
It's gonna be it's gonna be awesome. I can't wait. Like, I've got a couple of ideas for stuff that I think would be like really cool. Like, I kind of have this, like, do you ever see the movie Moon?
Yes, with Sam Rockwell.
Yeah,
Fucking phenomenal movie.
it's fucking stunning, and I love what it explores, like the effect of like isolation and loneliness on a person, and then that big, which I won't ruin it, like,
Yeah,
but that
do
big
not.
reveal.
If you guys have not seen this movie, you need to put it at the top of your list. It's fucking awesome.
It's really good, and I think you could do something really interesting in No Man's Sky along those lines. If you had the right voice actor, you could just like record your own gameplay and edit it together in a certain way and write a script driven by the gameplay and then have somebody record it. And you could have like this slow degradation of the character over time as they're endlessly, pointlessly exploring space to the benefit of people that they never see and will die before they ever meet.
Yep.
It'd be great. But as like, who the fuck would want to watch that kind of thing on YouTube? Almost nobody.
It depends on the delivery. I mean, the voice acting has got to be spot on. It's not even
it's
so much
gotta be
voice
amazing.
acting, but I think timing on that and the style of the presentation. But again, even the timing of the presentation for a series like that is critical to it being successful. Because it can work. It could be very, very interesting, really intriguing, and draw people in. But timing on everything is going to be extremely critical. But it could work.
Yeah, it could be dope.
Yep.
And the best thing is, I can very happily say ideas like this in public and know that nobody would ever like see it and go, I'm going to do that because it's actual work.
I was just thinking about it. I was like, I was about to say, Scary, you know how many fucking YouTubers I can think of right now? They're like feverishly scribbling this down. Oh my fucking god, I'm going to take this idea.
Yeah, they're not going to be able to do it though.
No, they're not.
Not a fucking chance.
No,
They
because like
wouldn't
you
be
said,
able
it's
to write an
actual
interesting
work.
script. Like, Jesus Christ, these motherfuckers can't write interesting scripts around PR releases. So, I'm not worried about them somehow managing to better explore existentialism than me.
In today's video, we are going to talk about the newest Battlefield 4 DLC. Like, share, subscribe.
She'll like a scribe.
Shall like a scribe. I like that. No, I don't.
I stole
Dumb.
it from Cooptitude.
gonna be
Excuse
so
you,
bad.
Felicia Day is not dumb.
I like the fact that I saw her at PAX and you didn't.
You're such a dick, by the way. I still haven't forgiven you for that, and I still don't
And I've
believe you that
never-
it was actually her.
I fucking, well, $100 it was her. I swear to God it was her. Because I even went and looked at a picture after. I was like, yeah,
Speaking
that
of
was
the
her.
devil, Ryan Day just started streaming. Don't go
Very bad.
watch. Please stay here.
No, I was watching a video while Scanner was talking to get familiarize myself with. No, I was paying attention to what he was saying.
No,
but
I know.
was,
It was just funny the way you said that.
to refamiliarize myself with No Man's Sky. It is intriguing.
Yeah.
even though I don't know much about it, I like the different approach, the different artistic approach they're taking with it. That has me intrigued. It remains to be seen what else it has to offer. I don't know. I mean, by the time it comes out, who knows where I'm at with gaming? Maybe I'll finally have my own home theater PC that I could sit down and play. Like, to me, that seems like a really fucking good game from a PC perspective. To boot up on the TV and just kick back on your couch and just fucking fart around for an hour or two, you know, and just get lost in, like, that's my get lost in the depths of my couch cushions and just get lost in that game kind of game.
I don't know if the game has the stones to be what it could be. Like, every bit of footage that I've seen of the game, you land on a planet and there's some kind of creature that's really vaguely similar to an Earth creature walking around there.
It's procedurally generated. As far as
everything's like bipedal or quadrupedal. Yeah, but procedural generated is not an invitation to the system. Like, it's always operating within parameters. I want to know how far those parameters go. Can I land on a planet that is just so fucking alien to me within its concept that I never want to see that shit again? Like, that's what I want to know.
Interesting.
Like, I want this game to be, like, if it's... What am I trying to say here?
You want it to be an experience.
It should be challenging. Like, a game like this, the only way it's actually going to work is if it challenges our concepts of the things that can and cannot exist. It's the only way it's going to work. Otherwise, it's just a fucking boring, slowly moving from one, reasonably similar area to the next. Like, I want it to be more than that. And I think it should be aiming to be more than that, but what the fuck do I know? I'm in a really weird place in my life where I want games to be amazing instead of just sell well. Derp.
Hang on, I'm responding to someone in the chat. Keep it going.
It'd be dope. But yeah, like, shit should be crazy.
It's
like, if I
on
land
my
on an
radar.
alien planet, it should feel alien to me. It shouldn't feel like a fucking petting zoo.
Yeah, the thing I saw was like red grass and blue trees with the dinosaur-looking things.
It's like,
Which
oh
was
my
cool,
god, it's red
but-
grass.
Yeah. Oh my god, it's so fluffy.
It's so alien here.
Cool. I think we got time for one more. Yeah, we do. We got one more. It's from Steve M. He actually took off before we even get to this. But this one was interesting because it kind of goes along the same lines of, like, NASCAR and even golf. It comes up in this. What are your opinions? Should gaming be considered a sport? Yes or no? I say no. I am firmly in the camp of sport equates physical activity. It is most certainly a competition, a hobby, whatever you want to call it, but sport, no.
If golf is a sport and chess is a sport, gaming is definitely a sport.
But I don't think any of those are a sport. Golf is arguably more of a sport than anything else,
Hang
because at
on.
least there's physical movement.
I move when I play games.
It's a physically challenging
especially
sport.
if I'm playing the Wii. Or with the Kinect, I'm moving.
But it's just body movements. You're not actually driving another object or...
NASCAR is a sport?
You're not propelling it. No, I wholeheartedly fucking disagree with anyone that says that.
Well, it's technically
Yes,
a sport.
it must be difficult to sit in a fucking car all day and drive 200 miles an hour, and I'm sure it's hot as fuck in there, but you're sitting there holding onto a steering wheel. I don't consider that a sport. Is it...
Do you have any idea the physical duress of driving at those speeds?
Yeah, but I still wouldn't consider it a sport.
But that's because you're stupid. Like, this isn't one of those things where I'm disagreeing with you because I disagree with you. This is the point in the podcast where I'm disagreeing with you because of an inability for you to either A, express your point well, or B, actually make your point beyond bias. Because you're just saying, I don't think stuff is a sport because it's not. And that doesn't work. Like, anything that the human body actually does to under any level of stress or duress has a cost. So you're sitting there thinking, oh, such and such is like, you're thinking chess isn't a sport because you don't move much. But I guarantee you, when it comes to brain activity, you get a guy who's playing chess and measure the actual cost of his thought process around chess. I guarantee you it's using more ketones, using more glycogen, using more anything than any motherfucking linebacker in the NFL. Whose job is, thinking-wise, I better run straight ahead and hit the dude who's fucking in front of me.
No, that's only if you run protection. What if you're a pass protection scanner?
You know what I mean? It's different fucking things. Like, there's always a physical cost. It's like you saying you've never been tired, like physically tired after a really tough, close round in a game where you broke your balls to try and win. You've been physically tired from gaming because of that cost. Your central nervous system doesn't run for free. It's infinitely more taxing than anything else in your body when it comes to recovery. And quick reactions to things that are happening in-game is all central nervous system.
You've done something that no one has ever been able to do when this topic has come up.
I've done something I do every week, which is tell you that you're wrong. And
No,
explain to you why.
no, it has
You
fucking
don't do
nothing
that
to
every
with
week.
It's the fact that you were able to accurately, well, just explain it. Explain why, and lay out all the reasons as to why it is a sport. And I will defer to that. You're right.
Science. More people should science.
But and by that reasoning, then, I am an athlete because I go fishing all the time.
Fishing is a sport?
I stand all day, I sit there and fucking sling weights all fucking day, and I stand there, and it's a mental game. It's not just fucking throw a line and sit there and wait. It is a mental game. You have to sit there and figure out, okay, it's this kind of weather conditions, this kind of water temperature, this kind of lighting conditions. There isn't current, there is current. The water's clear, the water's dirty. It's got a weedy bottom. No, it's got a sandy bottom. There are rocks. Nope, there are logs. And you have to take it all into consideration and then determine, okay, well, where are the bait? What's the wind doing? And then from all that, decipher where are they most likely to be. Because it's never the fucking same thing 2 days in a row. Well, okay, maybe 2 days in a row. But it's never the same thing week after week after week. They're always in a different spot. And it changes every couple of hours, too. What goes on at 7 a.m. is fucking nowhere near what it's doing at 12 o'clock in the afternoon when the sun's at its peak.
For someone to be an athlete, I would argue that there would need to be a degree of frequency within their activity.
Frequency, just frequency, or frequency and skill? Like, if I'm playing Candy Crush on my fucking phone...
No, I don't think you're a competitive gamer if you play Candy Crush all
So
day.
competitive gaming, you're saying, is sport. Not
well, I'd
gaming.
consider a competitive gamer to fall under the remit of the word athlete. For the same reasons as I just explained about the physical CNS cost. But like those dudes are literally playing all day, every day to try and be better. So I'll grant them as athletes. The same way as, no offense to like, you know, anybody in chat who does this. But if you've got like an amateur fucking football league and you play a game once a week with the other dudes from accounting, I ain't never gonna call you a fucking athlete. Ever. Like,
I did misspeak earlier. I didn't mean to say athlete. I meant to say that fishing is a sport.
oh yeah, fishing is a sport. I've fished, it's fucking tough as balls.
Yeah. Also,
You get fucking tired.
mentally taxing. Just from being bored. Wow! Sometimes it is boring, though.
Yeah, no, that's why I consider many things to be a sport, like, that other people don't. Like, other people, they hang up, like, they get really hung up on, like, the movement kind of concept. Like, how much are you moving, and then I'll decide if it's a sport or not. Because they don't even understand how those sports work. Like, they look at, let's say, Olympic weightlifting, you know, like the clean and press and the snatch and all that kind of stuff. They look at those guys and they see them and they think, oh, that guy must be really tired because he's moving something with his muscles. They don't understand that for those lifts, it's technique and it's all central nervous system. It's how fast can you move within certain planes to move this weight. like, yeah, your muscles have a degree of involvement, but infinitely less than people actually think of. Because it's not about moving the bar from here to there in one giant movement. It's about several shorter, truncated movements that you are moving your body around as quickly as you can. And you need to be able to, like, repeat these processes in milliseconds, the same as boxing. People look at boxers, they see this ripped guy who's, like, got big shoulders and big arms, and he punches a man in the face, and they think, oh, he must be really strong. But that's, like, 40% of boxing is how strong your body is, and then 60% are your reaction times, training your central nervous system, so that you're not consciously thinking about what you're doing. Your body is just fighting the same way you trained it to fight over thousands of hours, throwing combos that you've thrown 1,000 times because your body recognizes
that
the
muscle
opening.
memory.
Yeah, not because you consciously think, I will throw a left, left, right. Your body just sees it and goes boom, and you're watching it happen. It's amazing. But yeah, that's
It's like basketball.
science and physics and all this stuff play massive parts in these sports that people don't understand a lot of the time.
Yep.
Yeah, I can't even imagine some of those StarCraft players. What
Dude,
is going on?
you want to talk about fucking mentally exhausting?
I can't even handle playing with Snoov when he's like trying to teach me and be nice.
Oh my god.
I'm like,
It-
L-I...
The fucking dude,
One?
that game. Oh my Christ! Like I understand everything about playing that game, but translating it from here to the fingers, no, that's a whole different ball game. My God, you just had to have that retarded ability to be able to make that connection to make it work. Because, like I said, it's one thing to understand the concepts of it, but quite another to actually implement those practices. Jesus Christ, it's like I have a very, very deep love-hate relationship for StarCraft 2 because I know it, I understand most of everything from all three classes, but fuck me, I can never get out of Bronze League, dude. I cannot do enough fast enough in that game. You need to be a good multitasker, like a really fucking good multitasker to be able to be good at that game.
Yeah, I like to just take my time, build up my base.
Yep. I'm like, here's
For
my first
forever.
barracks, and all of a sudden a guy
You know
comes in
what
with
we
like a
should
100
do?
supply army.
What would be hilarious is like a video, you know, it's kind of like a piss take video, but something about like StarCraft Procrastinators League. And it's just like 10 minutes of the camera switching from like one base theater in spec mode, and they've done nothing. Like
That's-
they've done absolutely fucking nothing.
You ever watch anything from Husky StarCraft? He had a
Yeah,
series
I
called
love that dude.
He had a series called Bronze League Heroes, and that's
I
pretty
love it.
much what every fucking episode was. Someone would send in a replay of just two bronze players playing that were like fucking brand new to it, and it'd be like 10 minutes in, and these guys are at like 30 supply. They've done fucking nothing. And then it's like, oh, we got something happening here. There goes 2 Marines and a Marauder. Oh my god. It's like 15 minutes in.
They're literally there reading the wiki, like.
Yeah.
It's fucking.
But okay, so that moves. Oh, look at that! My guy's moving. Oh, he's drilling. That's cool.
That's me.
Yeah.
No, I'm like, how do I build the starport right away? I need all the
You're about
floors.
8 buildings away from that. Okay, so
I adore strategy games, but it's been a while since I felt like I wanted to play them in that kind of PvP thing. The reason I like them like so much is because it's repetition is calming. So like repeatedly like doing the same thing, I personally find very calming. And it will come with games, like MOBAs and fucking strategy games. They're just like simple repetitions over and over again. It's very relaxing.
and
That's what they are to me now. But like, come on, man, Command and Conquer back in the day, I would fucking wage war with bitches on the internet. Like, fight me. It's amazing. I get real like fucking serious, man. I'd sit in fucking college or whatever and be thinking about strats and builds and fucking all kinds of stuff. I was like, as soon as this is over, I'm gonna go down to the computer lab. I'm gonna whoop me a Korean. I swear to Christ.
Scanner back in the swole days, fucking pumping iron with one arm, and just fucking strap book in the other.
Yeah,
puts the iron down, fucking protein shake, get back to pumping iron.
Oh shit.
You know what? I think it's actually a good point to call it quits for the podcast. We've been at it for about an hour and 20 minutes. It's pretty good.
This way I can eat.
Yeah, that was a good night. It was fucking great topics. We've had a good number of viewers. Been sitting at about 30 for the whole night, so very, very good. Love to see that. To everyone that tweets out the stream or even retweets any one of the three of us or all of us or the Dawnbreaker gaming account, cannot tell you how much we appreciate that. I say it every week. Word of mouth is the greatest tool to help us grow. So the more that you guys do that, the more that we can grow. And I'd love to see that number continue to go up every week, even if it's only like 1 or 2. That's fine. I want to see progression. I want to see more people come in on this, because the more people that we get involved, the more diverse topics that we get. And it also would help us to get more diverse guests down the line as well. Numbers do help that, believe it or not. Other than that, again, the Patreon, if you guys could take a minute and check it out, please. Any pledges help greatly, seriously. Annoyed Droid is asking about this week's community game night. He was kind enough to fill in for me last week to host a community game night. They did it on DayZ. I missed it. I want to do that. I'm going to try and plan for something for this Friday, but keep an eye on my Twitter in the next day or two. I'll hammer something out, like some final details, either by tomorrow or Wednesday. But if it's anything's going to happen, it is on Friday night, I think. I got to think about that. I just realized this is a tough weekend, because not only is it my son's 3rd birthday, but it's also 4th of July weekend. So I will have more details tomorrow, I promise. Other than that, thank you guys for watching. We greatly appreciate it. If you're new here and you haven't followed yet, please do so. We'd also appreciate that. And we'll be back here next week, every Monday night, 8 p.m. Eastern. Same time, same place. Thank you guys for watching. We appreciate it. We'll catch you guys next week.